Gunsmoke was set in Dodge City, Kansas, during the thriving cattle days of the 1870s. The episode of Gunsmoke we are doing tonight might not be what you expect. There are no cattle rustlers or bank robbers. Instead, it is a story that centers around Matt Dillon's long-suffering and often overlooked deputy, Chester Proudfoot. We hope you enjoy it. So we begin with the Gunsmoke series, the episode, Chester's Dilemma, that was first aired January 31st of 1960.
Gunsmoke.
I sure can't find your order, Miss Kitty.
Don't worry about it, Mr. Jonas.
I saw Edna getting the things together, but what she did with them,
Mr. Jonas, I don't mind waiting.
well, it bothers me. She should be here till 5 o'clock, but no. Every afternoon come 4:30, she has to run off to the boarding house, change her clothes, comb her hair, and freshen up, as she keeps saying.
If she's not a good worker, why do you keep her on?
No, I didn't say that. She's a fine worker and smart and pretty. Why, in the short time she's been here, she's cleaned that end of the store there from top to bottom. And everybody likes her. Matter of fact, I'd hate to lose her.
Lose her?
Well, she keeps talking about San Francisco like it was the land of Canaan, and she couldn't wait to get there.
Maybe it's only talk.
No, I don't think so. She's too took up with the idea. And I get the notion that Dodge is just a place she ran out of money. And as soon as she saves up enough, she'll be on her way.
She ever tell you where she's from?
Farm someplace in Ohio, I think. She keeps saying how she misses the excitement of New York City and the opera and all that. But then one day we got to talking about hogs and milk cows, and she let it slip.
I can't use these.
Almost bit her tongue off after she said it.
You think she's ashamed of being raised on a farm?
No, it ain't that. It's more like she was scared, like she had to keep it a secret.
Oh, I'm back, Mr. Jonas. I'll just tidy up the counter and Miss Kitty.
Hello, Edna. My, you look pretty.
But thank you.
They go in the back.
Miss Kitty is waiting for her order, Edna.
Oh, I've got it all wrapped up and sitting on the counter here.
That was very thoughtful. Mr. Jonas was just looking for it.
Knew you'd be in, so I told Mr. Jonas, rather than have you wait, well, I'd get it ready and could give it to you. Here you are.
Miss Edna, it's almost 5 o'clock. Are you? Oh, afternoon, Miss Kitty.
Hello, Chester.
Well, I'm all ready, Mr. Proudfoot. You'll have to forgive the way I look. I have been working all day, and well, a person does get a little wilted.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, shall we go? We'll see you in the morning, Mr. Jonas.
All right, Edna.
Nice seeing you, Miss Kitty.
It was nice seeing you. And you too, Chester.
Yes, it was. Very nice.
Mr. Jonas, I think you're wrong.
About what?
San Francisco. I think Dodge City is as far west as Edna plans to get.
Oh, I just think trains are the most exciting thing, Mr. Proudfoot, don't you? Oh, all that black smoke and the huffing and the puffing and the way the whistle screams. It's like a big wild animal or a dragon.
Well, now, I never quite thought of it that way.
Well, would you mind, Mr. Proudfoot, if I just held onto your arm till it leaves?
Why, no, not if you're really scared.
Oh, my, you are strong.
Well,
And you must be very brave, too. Working with Marshal Dillon the way you do, fighting Indians?
we don't fight many Indians. Mostly we.
And capturing rustlers and horse thieves and train robbers.
Well, every once in a while we.
I bet you saved his life lots of times.
Mr. Dillon has a way of looking after himself. There she goes. You know, it is pretty exciting at that.
Oh, it certainly is.
All right, here's the marshal's mail, Chester.
Oh, thank you, Charlie. I was just coming in to get it.
Think you and your pretty little helper can carry all that by yourselves?
Oh, sure, Charlie. This little bit is I think we'll manage all right. Old Charlie sure is a kidder.
Well, I'll bet there are real important things in those letters.
Oh, once in a while there is. Don't seem to be much today, though just 3 wanted circulars and...
Oh, could I see one?
Well, I guess there ain't no harm. They're going to be posted anyway here.
Oh, Texas Sam. Oh, what a mean, terrible-looking person.
Oh, that's not a very good picture of him. He's really...
Oh, don't show me the others. I don't want to know about such people.
Well, all right, but you asked.
But I would like to see those envelopes.
Now, Miss Edna, the U.S. mail is sort of sacred-like.
Oh, Chester. Well, just let me look. Oh, my, the Department of the Interior, Washington, D.C., and the U.S. Marshal's office in St. Louis. Oh, my, all that important mail. It is a responsibility, isn't it?
I think I better walk you home now, so I can take the mail to the office. Mr. Dillon likes to look at it before he goes out to supper.
Chester?
Yes, ma'am.
This boardwalk's terribly rough. Would you mind if I took your arm?
You sure that's the move you want to make?
I guess so.
Matt, are you sure that's the move you want to make?
Yeah, I guess so.
That makes 3 games in a row. I suppose I should feel flushed with victory, but I find absolutely no satisfaction in beating a half-hearted opponent.
What are you talking about?
What's your problem?
There's no problem, Doc.
Come on, out with it.
Well, you'll know sooner or later anyway. It's Chester.
Chester?
Has he been up to see you?
No, he hasn't.
Well, something's wrong with him.
Yeah, why? Well, what are his symptoms? What does he do?
Nothing.
Well, then what makes you think...
Those are his symptoms. He doesn't do anything. When he's here, he walks around with a blank expression. He doesn't hear anything I say. This place hasn't been swept in a week. I've made the coffee for 2 days. Day before yesterday, that drifter we had in the cell didn't get any supper.
That doesn't sound like Chester.
That's what I'm talking about. You have any idea what might be bothering him?
As a matter of fact, I do. The only thing that amazes me is that it hasn't happened long before this.
Well, what is it?
Chester is a victim of your ingratitude.
Oh, now, Doc.
That may sound silly, but it's a fact.
Look, Doc. I don't know, Doc. Look.
No, you listen. You asked my opinion, and I'm going to give it to you. I've seen cases like this before. A man goes on year after year doing his job, And suddenly one day he asks himself, why? Sure, he gets paid for it, but he has to feel that what he's doing is important, that the person he works for appreciates his efforts. If he doesn't, all the spunk goes out of him and he begins to think maybe he should find something else to do.
You mean Chester's thinking about quitting?
I wouldn't be a bit surprised. Tell me, when's the last time you said anything nice to him?
Something nice. Look, I can't run this office like a Sunday school if I have to pat Chester on the back every time he says something.
All right. You asked me and I told you. Just go on like you have been. No word of thanks, no praise, barking your orders, expecting things to be done day after day.
Well, maybe you're right.
You certainly wouldn't want to lose a man like Chester because of your own stubbornness.
No, I wouldn't. Doc, it takes a real friend to be honest with a man the way you just were.
Oh, that's all right, Matt. That's what friends are for. Now, how about another game of checkers? But this time, see if you can give me a little competition.
Oh, oh my. Here she goes.
Yep, there goes that old dragon.
Oh, it sure is exciting.
It sure is. Well, we better go in the depot and pick up the mail. Old Charlie must have it sorted by now. Have to get it to Mr. Dillon so we can look at it before supper.
Oh, will you have time to walk home with me, won't you?
Well, sure. I didn't mean that. I just meant...
Well, I see you got your pretty little helper with you again, Chester.
I sure have.
Kind of brighten things up to have her come in with you every afternoon the way she does.
Is the mail sorted, Charlie?
Of course it is.
Well, could I have it then, please?
Here.
Thank you, Charlie. Well, see you tomorrow.
Yeah.
You know, Chester, you're my favorite person in the whole town.
I am. Well, that's
True. And I'll tell you something else.
well. What?
Well, this is a secret. Lean over so I can whisper in your ear.
Well, just say it. Nobody can hear.
Well, lean over. That's what I think of you, Chester.
Well, now, ma'am, Miss Edna, I don't think Front Street is the place to...
Oh, it's all right, Chester. I don't care who knows.
I think I better take you home. On account of Mr. Dillon will be mad if you don't get his mail.
Well, it must be very important mail tonight. Oh, let me see.
Now, you shouldn't do that, Miss Edna.
Oh, I know. The United States mail is sacred, and it's your job to protect it.
Please give it to me, Miss Edna.
Ooh, one from the Department of the Army, a circular, catalog of firearms and ammunition. Ooh, another circular, a letter from, oops. I dropped that silly old catalog.
I'll get it.
I'm sorry.
It ain't hurt none. It's the new Granger catalog I sent for.
Well, here are the letters.
Thank you. Miss Edna,
What's the matter?
there was another letter here.
There was.
You know there was. You had it right in your hand. There it is.
Where, Chester?
You stuck it in your shirtwaist there.
Well, what makes you so sure that that's your letter?
Well, it has to be.
Mr. Proudfoot, are you accusing me of stealing a silly old letter?
Well, no, ma'am. I suppose it could have got there by accident, but...
Well, if you're so sure, why don't you try and take it away from me?
Well,
But if you try, well, I'd scream and like just anything, and everybody in Dodge would think that Chester Proudfoot was a big, nasty old brute.
Miss Edna, oh, shoot.
Well, good morning, Chester.
Oh, good morning, Mr. Dillon. I'm sorry I didn't get your breakfast this morning.
Every man has a right to sleep late now and then, and I think it's kind of good to eat breakfast out once in a while anyway.
I just didn't close my eyes until after sunup, Mr. Dillon. I just tossed and turned and tossed.
I think you've been working too hard, Chester. I think you should take a couple of days, pack your saddlebag, take your fishing pole, ride out, and just loaf a little. Remember that little stream that cuts off the Arkansas?
I remember it, Mr. Dillon, but I just couldn't do that.
I can manage without you here for a couple of days.
Mr. Dillon, if you want me to go away, you don't have to be nice about it. I understand.
Chester, I didn't say I want you to go away.
You said you could manage without me.
For 2 days? I figured you needed a rest, a change. You've got a tough job. I've got a tough job. Any marshal has. If he doesn't have help he can count on, his job is twice as tough. You're a good assistant. You're loyal. You're dependable. When you're covering my back with a rifle or a shotgun, I don't worry about what's behind me. I can think about what's in front of me.
Mr. Dillon.
Shut up. I'm not finished yet. When I'm out in the prairie 4 or 5 days a week at a time, I've got to have a companion I can live with. Well, most of the time, I can stand you. Now, does that sound like I'm trying to get rid of you? Does it? Huh?
No, sir. And thank you very much. You just helped me make up my mind about something very important.
All right, then. Now make up your mind to clean up this rat's nest from top to bottom before I get back. I'm going to the Long Branch.
Yes, sir, Mr. Dillon.
I don't know, Kitty. I guess I was pretty hard on him, but maybe it helped. Anyway, sweet talking him seemed to make him feel worse.
And that was Doc's idea, huh?
Yeah, he figured Chester needed some encouragement.
And what did you figure?
Well, nothing. I'm just tired of him mooning around like a lovesick calf, neglecting his work.
You said it, I didn't.
Said what?
Moonin' like a lovesick calf.
Oh, now, Kitty. Chester? Who?
You men. You get so wound up in your own little world, you don't see any of the interesting things that go on. I suppose now you're going to tell me you never heard of Edna Wallstrom?
Well, sure. She's a little girl Jonas hired to work in the store. Came to town a couple of weeks ago.
Well, she's not exactly a little girl. She's 22 if she's a day. She's very cute. And she set her cap on Chester.
Kitty, Chester isn't the kind to go chasing girls.
I said she set her cap for him. She's got it all planned. She gets off work at 5. Chester meets her at the store. They walk down to the depot to wait for the 5:15, pick up the mail, and then he walks her home.
And that's all?
That's all. It seems to be enough to keep him completely dazed all the next morning and afternoon.
Well, what do you know?
Oh, well, speak of the devil.
Mr. Dillon.
Well, Chester. Miss Wallstrom?
Marshall?
I think you know Miss Kitty Russell.
Oh, yes, I do. Good evening, Miss Kitty.
Evening, Miss Kitty.
Well, won't you sit down?
We'll sit, but we're not going to drink. Miss Wallstrom has something to tell you, Mr. Dillon.
In that case, I'll just leave you 3 alone.
Oh, no, please stay, Miss Kitty. I don't mind.
Well, what is it?
I'm under arrest, Marshal.
What?
Chester arrested me for tampering with the U.S. mail.
You didn't open the letter, Miss Edna, so that just makes it interfering instead of tampering.
That's still a pretty serious charge, Miss Wallstrom.
Well, I know that now, Marshal, but I didn't really believe Chester until he showed it to me in a book, and he said he liked me very much, but he didn't want to arrest me, if he didn't, well, then he would be guiltier than I am. And well, it's because he would feel he wouldn't be loyal to you, and then a marshal has to be able to trust his assistant in everything.
Who is this letter addressed to?
To you, Marshal? Here it is. It's from Mr. Gruber back on a farm near Akron, Ohio. And it's a lie.
If you haven't opened it, how do you know it's a lie?
Well, Mr. Dillon, this Mr. Gruber wrote to Miss Edna about a week ago and told her what he was going to do if she didn't take the next train to Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's find out.
Only told me about this, Miss Edna, instead of trying to steal the letter.
I just didn't know what to do, Chester. I thought if the marshal didn't know about it, that, well, old Mr. Gruber would just leave me alone.
Well, I know, but...
Miss Wallstrom, did you steal $200 from Mr. Gruber?
No, sir. Marshal, I didn't. He gave it to me. It was a loan.
But he says here you signed a confession.
Well, that's not true. Well, maybe it was a confession, but he told me I was signing a note.
You're telling me the truth now?
Yes, sir, I am.
Well, we'll find out who's lying tomorrow.
What do you mean, Mr. Dillon?
Gruber's getting into Dodge at 10 in the morning.
Are you going to put me in jail, Marshal?
No, you just stay on at the boarding house tonight. But after breakfast tomorrow, you'd better show up at my office.
Oh, I certainly will, Marshal. And if you can't make that mean old man tell the truth, I will.
When someone breaks the law, they should be in jail.
That may be true, Mr. Gruber, but this jail wasn't built for women. And I'm still not sure the law was broken.
You got my letter. I sent you her confession.
I know. And if you filed a complaint back in Ohio, I can hold her here in Dodge until they send someone to take her back.
But I am already here. I will take her back.
Mr. Gruber, the law just doesn't work that way.
But why do you think I came? Why do you think I spent all that money?
I don't know. You say she stole $200. This trip must have cost you twice that much already.
That's right. And it will be worth every penny and more.
But why?
Well, because of that old fool Gruber.
What?
I'm sick and tired of being that old fool Gruber. Let's all laugh at that old fool Gruber. Everybody gets the best of that old fool Gruber. Well, this time, Gruber's going to win. This time, I am going to laugh. They'll see whether they can pull one over on me. Mm-hmm. Who's this?
This is Chester Proudfoot, my assistant.
Oh.
Chester, this is Mr. Gruber from Ohio.
I know. Here's the telegraph, Mr. Dillon, from the Akron police.
Now let's see if old Gruber's so foolish.
You've read it, Chester?
Yes, sir, I did.
Now you read it, Marshal. Go ahead.
Complaint against Edna Wallstrom filed here by Hans Gruber, January 10th. Charge theft. If presently in your city, please apprehend and hold for extradition.
So now, I want her arrested.
She's no criminal, Mr. Dillon.
Oh, you think not?
No, I don't. She's a fine person. And if she did something wrong, she must have had a real good reason.
Chester.
I'm sorry, Mr. Dillon, but I'm real upset.
Now look here, young fella.
No, you look here. I think Miss Edna's a very fine person, and I just won't believe she'd do anything really bad like stealing your money. She works hard, and she's nice, and she's pretty, and she wouldn't do a thing like that.
You've got a lot to learn, young fella.
That may be, but there's one thing I know. I know if you say one mean thing when she gets here, if you try to scare her one little bit, it's going to make me madder than I am.
Are you threatening me?
Chester, no one's going to intimidate her. I'll see to that. Now you calm down. And I promise we'll get to the bottom of this just as soon as possible.
Here she is, Matt.
Hello, Kitty. Come on in, Miss Wallstrom.
And you must be Hans Gruber?
That's right.
Well, I sure wouldn't be proud of it. This is one of the few times I wish I were a man. I'd cut the rail and carry both ends to get you to Dodge.
Kitty, I just got Chester calmed down, so don't you start. Miss Wallstrom, do you know this man?
That's Mr. Gruber.
Hello, Edna.
Oh.
Why did you do it, Edna?
Mr. Gruber, you told me when I signed the paper that now everything was all right. You knew I was going to pay it back.
I don't mean about the money. Why did you run away? Everyone laughs at me.
Well, I can't help that, Mr. Gruber. I just had to do it.
But why?
I'll tell you why.
Kitty.
No, Matt, this is important. Mr. Gruber, you're a widower, aren't you?
That's right. 4 years now.
And Edna here, she was your housekeeper, your hired girl.
Yeah.
How much did you pay her?
Well, not so much maybe in money, but there's room and board and goods, and so she could make clothes and whatnot.
And on Fair Day, one Friday a month, you took her to town with you, along with the chickens and the eggs and the pigs. Gave her $2 whole to spend?
Yeah, but...
And for that, she kept the house, did the baking, the cooking, the washing, the ironing. She fed the pigs, she fed the chickens, gathered the eggs. And when she wanted to leave, you wouldn't lend her enough money to live for 2 weeks while she went looking for another job.
Yeah, that is so. But I didn't want her to go away. She was always talking about New York or San Francisco. I was afraid if she had money, she would go away.
But you made it easy for her to steal the money, steal the $200. Then you made her sign that silly confession so you could use it to frighten her into staying on the farm.
But it didn't work. She had the money. I couldn't find it. And she used it to go away.
Is that the story, Gruber?
Yeah, that's the story.
You must be very proud of yourself.
No, I'm not. That's why I had to find you, Edna.
I don't even want to talk to you, Mr. Gruber.
You don't have to talk. Just listen. I will talk. I had to find you because, well, I want you to be Mrs. Gruber.
What?
Yes, that's right. You laugh, but listen too. I've hired a couple, Jakob Glasnop and his missus, to run the farm. And you know the little house with the green shutters? The Schaefer place we used to pass going to town. The one you always liked so much.
Well, what about it?
I bought it.
Well, that's very nice, Mr. Gruber, but...
Wait. I am not finished. Look in this envelope. Go ahead.
Train tickets to San Francisco? But, Mr. Gruber...
And I wrote to the Palace Hotel, they will get us married. And we'll stay there, and we'll buy fancy clothes, and we'll go to the show houses, and all sorts of things.
Oh, Mr. Gruber.
I want you should call me Hans, Edna.
Oh, Hans, you're the nicest person I've ever met.
There's a train at 5:15 if we can get packed and
I can, Hans, but we'll have to hurry. You come with me and we'll get everything together.
What about this warrant?
Well, I will write to them from San Francisco. Just forget about it, please.
But now that's about the damnedest thing I've ever...
I'm just so excited. I almost went off without saying goodbye. Miss Kitty, thank you so much for helping me. And Marshall, I'm sorry I took the letter. Really, I am. And Chester?
Yes, ma'am.
Please lean over.
Well, now.
Please. Chester, I think you're the nicest younger person I ever met. Goodbye.
Goodbye, Miss Edna.
I'm sorry, Chester.
Oh, that's all right, Miss Kitty. It's just, Mr. Dillon, some people sure are hard to figure out.
Chester, if you mean by some people, you mean women? They certainly are.
sweet, sad, nostalgic curtain to stir from slumber in the breasts of all of us those haunting memories of lost loves and missed opportunities.